What's going on, guys? Welcome back for another Chivalry 2 weapon guide. Today we're going to be talking about a favorite in the community, and based on how many times I've been struck down by this weapon, it really must be loved. Today, I bring you the Longsword. The Longsword is a very common weapon, like I said, mostly because it's the first weapon a knight can wield when starting their journey to become a conqueror on the battlefields of Chivalry 2. It is the most agile of any two-handed sword in the game, a direct contrast to the greatsword and Highland swords, which makes it a very plausible choice as an introduction for combat as a knight. Wielded by the officer subclass, the Longsword is versatile and quick, allowing you to end fights against a myriad of slow and hard-hitting weapons with devastating speed and combo abilities. Looking at the in-game stats, the Longsword is among the most balanced weapons in the game. With 50% in reach, speed, and damage, you can't get more average than this sword. You'll be able to land any type of attack with enough skill, so this weapon is the absolute best for practicing combat in Chivalry 2. It's how I learned to play, along with the battle axe since I'm a Vanguard main, and it retains its stature as one of the coolest two-handed swords in all of Chivalry 2 due to its ability to chain fast combos together with relative ease. I do have to give a shout out to Mr. Snakers over on Reddit, who commented about a neat website called pullhammer.net. The website creator has analyzed, tested, and compiled all the performance-based stats for Chivalry 2 weapons, and it proves that these in-game stats aren't entirely accurate and present more of a baseline to compare other weapons with. If you really want accurate stats, you'll want to head over to that website, which I've included in the description and will be using for every weapon guide from here on out. As you can see, the Longsword, when compared to the other two-handed swords, is easily the fastest, but also has the shortest range. The damage, speed, and range are highest when stabbing, so you'll want to be using a decent blend of feint combos when wielding this weapon to always get those stabs in there. The stabbing animation can be the easiest to counter due to how obvious it is, so I would recommend grabbing their attention with an overhead and then quickly feinting into a stab at the last possible second. The overhead only does 5 less damage than the stab, so if you can land that, do it. Avoid throwing constant slashes unless you're backed into a corner and need to clear the area in front of you. Slashes can also be especially useful when your opponent is comfortable countering stabs and overheads. Basically, you just want to confuse the heck out of them and try to land something on their body or head. Now let's bring it back to Chivalry 2 in-game stats and talk about the perks associated with the Longsword. Reduced damage, faster release means it'll take a few more hits to conquer your foe, but will allow you to move your attacks quicker. So, if you're trying to excel or drag an attack against someone doing the same, your hit will almost always land first. Faster, stronger stabs provides a massive incentive to end your combos with a stab attack, since that has the highest likelihood of being the killing blow. This lines up with the pullhammer.net stats we looked at earlier, and gives your stabs a faster and more powerful nature right out of the box. And finally, faster recovery will pair nicely with both other perks by doing exactly what the name says. You'll be able to start an attack soon after finishing your previous animation, which could give you the opportunity to attack first almost every time, hopefully achieving contact even if the enemy has the initiative. Like I said before, the Longsword can be extremely devastating. This takes a bit of know-how and a decent knowledge of what attacks to use and when to use them, which can only be learned by playing the game more and more. If you're dying a lot with the Longsword, try using less slashes and overheads since they're super easy to counter or block, and try to feint those attacks into stabs. Annoy your opponent, give them no room to recover, and keep incessantly stabbing them. It'll only take 2 of these to kill most enemies if you're lucky enough to land them, so don't give up. Stabbing those motherfuckers is the way. Now, if you need a decent combo to practice with, the tried and true slash overhead stab or overhead stab are great ones to work with. Just make sure you're using feints correctly. This will give you the ability to also work in alternate attacks, which is just switching the side you start the attack from, and opens you up to pretty much every single type of movement in Chivalry 2. Overall, the Longsword is a combo master and will give you exactly what you're looking for in any medieval slasher, the ability to conquer. And it has a level 200 skin for Agatha, so that gives you something to work towards. When people see that version of the Longsword, they know they're facing an absolute legend. Well, that's it for me. I hope this guide helps, and I hope you appreciate the inclusion of the new stat analysis. I think that'll give these guides even more for you to keep in mind, and hopefully improve all our gameplay when out there on the battlefield. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. If you didn't, let me know what I could do better. I'm only ever here to help. I hope you're enjoying the new update as much as I am. Take care, warriors. Chronic out.